and I'm going to jump into this. This is just an introduction to Equilibria, Equilibria in sports, and Equilibria in education. And again, as I go through this, you will learn a lot more. I am Lynn Kachmarik. I'm president of Equilibria in sports and Equilibria in education. I'm also it's really all under the same umbrella. I came in as sports, but I'm working with a government agency right now, and I've traveled around the world and worked with businesses. I've just at some inner city schools. So this is for everyone. My e-colors are yellow over red. And just to tell you a little bit about me as a person, not my character, just my personality. So this is how I normally introduce myself in a workshop. Tomorrow I'm flying to Georgia for a socially distant, safe, some workshops and where we wear masks and there's not a lot of people. But 44% of my personality is the e-color yellow, which is the socializing part of my personality. 28% of my personality is the red, which is the doer part of my personality. 19% of my personality is the blue, e-color blue, which is the relator part of my personality. And sadly, only 7.8% of my personality is the green, which is that part of my personality that really likes to analyze and plan and be organized. It doesn't tell you how smart I am, but what this tells you is I've spent most of my life jumping in with both feet and thinking about the consequences later. One of the first things we do in our workshop is even though you get a report when you take our PDI, we don't let you use that report. We want you to identify what are some of your strengths, your personality-based strengths that you bring to the team, whether it's an office, whether you're the CEO, or whether you're the head coach, or you're a student athlete, doesn't matter. So a little bit about my personality strengths. What do I bring to a team? I have a positive attitude about life. I love coaching and mentoring others, and I always see the good in people. If I overplay those strengths, they could be too much for some people. And potential limiters, I love the fact that we reframed the word weakness to potential limiters. What are some of those things about my personality that hold me back? I can be too talkative. That comes from my yellow. So I was captain 8 of 10 years of the United States women's national water polo team, captain of 2 high school teams, captain of 2 collegiate teams. I was a vice president and general manager of a minor league baseball team. I've been executive director of a CVB. I've led the cheers. I've fired up people. I did this. I did this. I now realize that I can't imagine how many of my teammates must have been saying under their breath, just shut up, Lynn. Stop talking. I took away the leadership opportunity of many of my teammates and many of my colleagues that I've been so privileged to lead. I can be easily distracted. So I can be talking to someone that I work with. Somebody does something in the corner of the room and my eyes go over there instead of really focusing on that person that I'm lucky to be engaged with. I didn't realize that I wasn't a good listener. My listening style is one of listening to solve your problem or listening to interrupt your breath. And I think my story is better. So all of these potential limiters have shared with me, wow, not as successful as I thought I was. I never reached my potential as a coach or a leader, let alone I held back those people that I was so privileged to lead. I've coached at Bucknell University for 20 years, men and women. I have been a collegiate athletic director for 10 years. I've been in baseball. I've been an executive director of a convention and visitors bureau. So I've had so many incredible leadership opportunities, as well as being a wife for over 30 years and the mom of 3 kids. And I wish I knew this when I was younger. So why me? Why did I get involved with this? I got to tell you, Equilibria was founded to save lives in the oil and gas industry. Our CEO is from Spain, absolutely incredible, but he is a very caring man, and 4 people were killed on an oil rig off the coast of Indonesia when he was in charge of health and safety. So he wanted to create something simple with tools. But I already started my own company, was traveling around the world doing culture, leadership, you name it, loving what I was doing when I was asked for lots of reasons to get involved with this. Didn't want to do it. I have been through so many different personality tools. I thought, nope, it's more of the same thing. It's good until it's not. They're used as profilers. Well, I went to Texas for a leadership retreat over a weekend, and I went from, I don't want to have anything to do with this, to this is everything I've been looking for my entire life as someone who values leadership and culture and, has studied it my entire life. So as I was on the national team, why me? And I think back to, we made 4-year commitments at a time. I had made a 12-year commitment over 4-year segments. And we were the #1 team in the world for 4 years. We went to world championships. Of course, we're going to win. We didn't win. And why didn't we win? Because we really didn't understand each other and we had ineffective communication. So as much as we cannot coach, we cannot lead the same way we did 3 years ago, we can't coach that same way either. But what hasn't changed since the 70s and 80s, which ages me, is my coach doesn't understand me, my boss doesn't get me, my teammates don't get me, my colleagues don't understand me. So here I am. Why Equilibria in sports? Because our personality, diversity, technologies, and associated tools are designed to develop high levels of emotional intelligence. Every other program that I thought was similar is used as a profiler. That is only part of we don't do that at all. As a matter of fact, it's against our ethics and guidelines. We are personal intervention, which is one of our proprietary tools. I have my wristband on here. I am yellow, red, and there's pause and play buttons on it. Teaches athletes, coaches, individuals how to move from a reaction to a response. Just think about that. We help leaders, athletes develop their own accountability, and each athlete individual understands how to accelerate their own intentional leadership. I'm working with this government agency right now on intentional leadership from an individual standpoint and from a group team standpoint. We do one session, 60-minute session every other week with tools and work, and it's unbelievable. So actionable intelligence. What is actionable intelligence, right? You can have somebody that comes in and they're a great speaker. And this is what I used to do. I used to travel around, and your company could bring me in, or your team. And if I wasn't an expert at it, I would research it and be ready to go. And I could make you laugh. I could make you cry. I could give you new information. But did I give you any tools so that 2 days later you forgot about me? We have so much actionable intelligence that you can put into use right away. And then we do develop this for your athletes, for your workers, for your team, you as a CEO, more than just in the office. You can take this home and then, continuous learning. So we have some great principles that, as another reason I jumped on board, there's 12 different e-color personalities. No e-color is more important than another. And our e-colors aren't an excuse for unacceptable behavior. I've always known that I've talked too much. I didn't know that I was too much for some personality styles. And I didn't know that I was an effective listener. Those are no longer excuses. I have to tap into my strengths, and I have to learn how to manage my potential limiters. So our e-color predicts our personality tendencies, but does not take into account our character. And again, I'm going to bring that in as we go along. So the genesis of Equilibria, right? Our mission, our vision is realizing potential, whether it's an individual or a team. So a little bit, what do? We are personality diversity experts. What we do, who we are, what we do is training, coaching, consultancy, you name it, we do it. How we do it, developed, and we apply our proprietary coaching tools. And why we do it, because our core value is people first. Think about that across every industry that there is. Over 700,000 businesses and individuals have used our personality diversity indicator. Well over 1 million people have taken our PDI. And these are some of, Chevron. There's not a person who works for Chevron anywhere in the world that isn't trained on advanced training on Equilibria. And we're talking from the custodian to the family of the CEO. And I've worked with teams all over the world, from pro teams to youth. How we do it. So I want you to think about this. Many of you, don't know me, and you came to this today maybe with some curiosity, maybe, oh, here we go again. And so I want you to think about embracing and leveraging the diversity of thought for optimum results. And there's so much going on in our world right now with diversity and inclusion, as it should. But those, elements of diversity and inclusion come into play all through this journey. So in our self and team awareness workshop was just the first base, not even first base, but we know that we will take you from, I don't want to be here, this is just like everything else, to, wow, big aha moments. And I don't care if you've been the CEO of your own company for 30 years, you will have huge growth. So there'll start to be an understanding of yourself and others. And then you'll start some of those miscommunications and misunderstandings that you may have attributed to something else. You'll start to see and feel how that comes from our diversity of thought. And then you're going to be, at the end of the day, after you continue this journey, oh my God, you will really start to embrace and leverage diversity of thought to improve your culture and everything else. So just some basic concepts. Again, our workshops are filled with interaction, but I want to get through as much as I can to give you some time for questions. So there's not going to be much interaction, but the E-color yellow is the socializer. The E-color red is the doer. The E-color green's the thinker, and the E-color blue is the relator. All of these are within our personality for each and every person. So of course, Chevron was where it was rolled out for many companies. And so we were in Singapore, and our CEO was there. And one of the high members of the Chevron team said, I think my daughter's school could really use this. So the first place we went to was that we rolled this out as an education was Singapore, way before we had a lot of our tools developed. So these were the teachers, and they were told to wear a shirt that represented their top E-color. And so they were asked to turn around for a picture. They were not asked to pose. So I just want you to see this. The reds, right? The doers, competitive. Just look at their body language. The greens are a little more serious, very organized, very thoughtful. Those are our top green is our thinkers and our analyzers. Look at the body language. Our yellows, E-color yellow, that's me. We want to have fun. We may not be organized, but we're going to have fun while we do this. And I think the most impressive picture is our E-color blues. Look at them down there. Lots of cultures, which I love, but they're leaning in and one person is talking. Those are our E-colors, the blue that are relators, supporters. It's just easier for them to pull on that blue E-color. So we did the students. And so as you can see, we didn't have wristbands back then, which is one of our tools, but they did have sashes. And so the students were told that when you leave the room, just put your sashes over here on the floor. So this should tell you a little bit of something. So leave your sashes on the floor. The greens and the blues, very thoughtful, very organized. And there were a lot of blues in that group. They're not quick moving, so they weren't even up out of their seats yet. And the reds and yellows just put them down. So I look at the red and yellow, I see the yellow and I see organized chaos. That's me. So not right, not wrong, just different. So how do we do this? I shared this last night. I was on a culture, building culture talk. And why this is everything I've been looking for, because I've been doing that my whole life. As a coach, I coached the national team, 20 years at Division I, 10 years as an athletic director. Everything about what I've lived is building culture, building team. And so we have 8 essentials of high performance. At Equilibria, we have realized that self and team awareness, shared vision and values, right? Being on the same page. What is your why? Not only your individual why, your purpose, but our team purpose. Clarity of roles. There's one thing that is so important. What is my role? What are my responsibilities? What am I accountable to? As well as what are my authorities? So those are the driving elements that get you to trust, diversity and inclusion, commitment, accountability, and continuous learning. Think about it. I go into any business, I go into any team and say, tell me 3 things that are holding your team back from more success. Ultimately, it's any of these, but so often it's clarity of roles, it's lack of trust, and we need commitment or accountability. Well, you can't get to trust at the level that we want, where everyone feels psychologically safe, until you start with self and team awareness, and then you have shared mission and vision, all of those. So those are the driving elements that get you to the resulting condition. Another reason that I really went from, I don't want to be here, to this is what I've been looking for, is that we do not just talk about personality. We also talk about character. So I want you to look at this analogy right here, right? Above the waterline is the smallest part of an iceberg. And so often we're judging people by what we see above the water, which is, oh my gosh, Lynn talks too loud. Oh my goodness, Lynn talks too much. Or somebody else could be, wow, she is just overthinking. Or, wow, she looks like she's withdrawing. Or one of my teammates, wow, I wonder why she never talks. Think about how we judge people by what we see. But below the water is our character. The bigger part of us is below the water. And what we talk about in the second half of our self and team awareness workshop is, how do you move from your personality, which is a reaction, to your character, which is a response. And we leave people with their dignity. So I want you to think about this. These are 4 wells that show that all of us have access to all 4 e-colors within our personality. This particular person here is green yellow. My green is a little sliver down at the bottom of your screen. But actually here, this person, it's easier for them to access the strengths of a green and a yellow, but not as easy to pull on that blue at times when they need it. So I want you to look at this. It's a really calm day. And we as adults, we as parents, we as coaches, hopefully, very calm situation, we are pulling on the appropriate response throughout our day. But think about world right now, and it's not so calm. This is COVID. This is pressure. This is stress. So think about that. That storm comes for all of us. And can you access your lowest e-color when it's stormy? I don't know if I know I didn't. I unintentionally hurt a lot of people along my journey because I couldn't easily access my green and blue. And I didn't even know that I wasn't, and I didn't know how. So this is just a quick snapshot. There's 12 different e-colors. So on any given day, after I'm done with you today, I'm on with almost 95 great individuals who work for a specific government agency, and they have all 12 e-colors on their team. So I don't normally share this, but I've been doing some great work in some inner city schools. So I created this for them. And since most of you on here don't know your e-colors, I just want you to think about some basic tendencies and see if any of these personalities connect with you the most. Again, this might give you an indication, but again, our top reds, they might be thinking, oh, I love to win and can be very competitive. I like to be in charge and can move quickly. Sometimes others might think I'm bossy and pushy. I do not always listen very well. I have a lot of that e-color. Yellow, which is, huge in my personality. I love to be with my colleagues and friends, and I have lots of energy. I'm fun-loving, but sometimes I can talk too much and can be easily distracted. That is truly who I am, but I'm working on that every single day. Our greens might be thinking, I need to plan things out and I can be very organized. Sometimes I can overthink things and be really hard and self-critical on myself. I like things to be perfect. There's not one word in there that resonates with me, although I'm working on the strengths of a green. My blues. I can be a very loyal friend and I can be very supportive of others. I like to avoid conflict and can be slow to share my thoughts, and I can be stubborn. Those are some from our blues. Imagine having more awareness about your strengths and potential limiters. Think about having this, how having this understanding can help you to manage anything that's holding you back. So maybe it'll give you a little bit of a quick understanding. We all have access to all 4 E colors within us. Most people do show a predominance to 2, although many people can be 26, 25, 24, 23, and they can access the strengths of all of the E colors way easier than I can. So there's 12 different combinations. And what it is a framework for continuous improvement, our 8 essentials of high performance. It elevates effective communication. I now am not too much for different personality styles. I know how to step back. I know how to quiet my voice. I don't have to be too much. I don't have to be the class clown. I wish I knew this when I was in middle school. My dad would have spent such less time going to the office, not because I was bad, but I was disruptive because I talked too much. It's about personal development. It's about high performance teamwork, intentional leadership. What company doesn't want to elevate their culture? And it's also a coping mechanism. I will tell you that I mentor and coach so many individuals because through this, you also get to understand where your stress and where your anxiety comes from, as well as how it facilitates itself within your personality. It is a game changer. It's absolutely incredible. So just a little bit about the E colors. This is stuff that we get to. This is just some stuff from our first workshop, Self and Team Awareness. So I want you to think about this. You may find yourself here. So our green and our reds, red greens, like to work independent, have a tendency to be a little more independent and task oriented. Just check it off. Whereas our yellow blues and blue yellows, I find myself over here. I am more people oriented and interdependent. I like to work in groups, probably because I can talk, right? So our yellow reds, red yellows are fast action. They move quickly, think of something, let's go. And I used to think people were slow. They're not slow. I was too fast. And our green blues and blue green colleagues, teammates, are steady pace, and they need more time to process as well as more information. Here I coached a national team at the highest level, Olympic athletes. I never gave my green and blue and top blue green athletes or those that I was leading all the information that they needed, nor did I give them the time to process. Yes, that's where I do have some regrets. Our left side of the E color brain, green, blue, green reds have a tendency to be a little more business focused. Yellow blues, a little more team focused. My husband is very high green. He's green blue. We would go to the movie, and I consider myself a pretty strong woman. And it's an emotional movie. Even if it's borderline, I am just sobbing. And my husband is like, do you have to be this emotional? And I would look at him early in our marriage and think, did I marry a stone? Because he's less emotional. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. All of this just gives us a simple framework to understand each other. And believe me, there's so much more. So that's one of the things that we do in our workshop. Before you even see this, you are coming up with your strengths and potential limiters. Then we put you in groups with people who have the same top 2 E colors. And all of a sudden you're finding out, oh my gosh, and you have to come up with your shared strengths and potential limiters. And you find out very quickly, even though you may be very different from that person, and you think, oh, I don't have anything in common. Oh my God, your strengths and potential limiters, you agree on very, very quickly. So we share this information out the brain, and then we share one E color at a time in a very interactive workshop, whether it's online or in person. We've moved everything actually online right now. We put people in breakout rooms. And so what we share with them is over 1 million people have taken our PDI, And those who identify as top red, these are the top strengths that they came up with. The same with yellow, blue, and green. So for me, I look at that green list. I can't even spell them. I only have 7.8% green. Here's a little tool. I don't have to practice being the strengths of a yellow red, but I do have to practice being the strengths of green. I have those laminated on my dashboard. They're in my phone. I look at them. I'm fly to Georgia tomorrow, and I guarantee you Wednesday morning when I get up, I'm going to be focusing on them because I have to be more green. And again, I just want you to look how we need all of these strengths, but for some of us, it's not easy to access those. Some of our teams may not have some of these. So this team that I'm going to be working with has nobody who's top red and one or two people who are top yellow. They are so green, blue heavy. They're going to be blown away at some of the stuff that I share with them. Then we go around the room and have all of the groups debrief their potential limiters. So we're creating that space for vulnerability. And it's pretty powerful, right? So each group is sharing those things that hold them back in the office. The CEO is sitting there. My colleagues are all there. My teammates are there. My coaching team is there. Doesn't matter, right? Vulnerability builds culture. So we look at all these and we think, wow, look at all these potential limiters that could hold us back, right? So for me, yes, I can be emotional. Yes, I can be reactive. I can be undisciplined. I can be manipulative. I like to say influential, but too much influence can turn into manipulation. I can also be unapproachable, tough. I didn't realize this. I didn't realize it when I would say to a high-level collegiate male athlete, hey, John, go tell Mike I want to talk to him. And John would say, oh, Mike doesn't want to talk to you. He's afraid of you. And I would be like, afraid of me? I love him. Well, if I was coming off as bossy, unapproachable, tough, doesn't matter what I think. It's what that person needs. So we talk about potential limiters. So I'm just going to put these up on your screen because we get into teamwork disruption. You know, you're missing all the interaction, but imagine looking how I disrupt teamwork. I disrupt teamwork by talking too much, lose focus when I'm not interested. And then we get into, again, I'm giving you the fast, right? How others disrupt teamwork. So back here, I just thought I was entertaining everyone. I didn't realize that I was disrupting teamwork for my team, for my staff. How others, so when there's negativity, when I'm not included, doesn't make me feel good, disrupts teamwork for me. For a green, not taking the time to discuss the plans because I have thought this through. Everything about my leadership disrupted teamwork for my green athletes and colleagues. So again, our pocket guide is just incredible. It's another tool. And I just wanted to expose you, right? These are, you know, people just get creeped out when they start seeing like, how did you know all this? But effective recognition, not everybody wants the same type of recognition. When working with me, right? For me, plan interactions that support my vision. Use time to be stimulating and fast moving. Well, green doesn't want that. Green wants prepare in advance. They want facts and figures. I never had facts and figures ready. Blue wants start with a personal comment. If you jump in with the e-color blue and start with facts and figures, it'll look like they'll withdraw a little bit unless they have great management of those things that hold them back. So how to delegate. Oh my gosh, has this come in handy as a coach, right? As a coach, you know, I'm that yellow red. That red causes me to want to just do it myself. It's just easier if I do it myself. It'll get done quicker and in my mind better. But I'm taking away leadership from someone else as well as micromanaging. And micromanaging doesn't feel good to any e-color. So the last one, if you want me to listen. So for me, right, if you want me to listen, provide a warm and friendly atmosphere. Red, be clear and specific. They don't want to know about the week, you know, they don't want you to ask them about their kids, but I do, and blue does. So Are you effectively communicating? I've been a pretty successful person, didn't know I wasn't an effective listener till I went through this. So remember, our E-color combination predicts our personality tendencies, but does not take into account our character, which shapes how we respond in our day-to-day life. So again, information filters. We got started a little bit late, so I'm going to have to cut some of this out. We need all 4 bits. So each of us have our own filters, right? Red wants to know what. Blue wants to know why we need to do this. Green wants to know how. I want details. And yellow wants to know who's going to be involved. Who are we going to dinner with? So when you are emailing or communicating to your team or staff, how do you prioritize? I was living in a box. I was living in a yellow, red box. Some people say, oh, these things put you in a box. For the first time in my life, I am out of that box. I now know how to activate my other E-colors that were kind of low. So think about when buying milk, right? So when reds go to the store and buy milk, E-color red, they just want to know what it is. It's milk. Yellow, E-color yellow, their information filter is who? Is it cow milk? Is it goat milk? Is it lactate-free milk? So I would run into the grocery store, see the what and the who, I'd be gone. But blue wants to know why we want to drink milk, and green wants to know how. What are the details? So I would get home to my green-blue husband, and he would say, did you look at this milk and cheese? The cheese is already moldy, and the milk expired yesterday. I didn't even know that there were expiration dates on milk or anything. That is how quickly I moved through life. So if you're a coach on here, I'm just going to bypass this, but I was working with I was a keynote speaker at a soccer conference, and I didn't even do the self and team awareness workshop, but this great coach got a pocket guide, and he went home and he had all of his team members, 15-year-old girls, find out their E-colors. He came to practice the next day. They didn't go through the workshop at all, but he sat them down and said, as a green, what does it feel like in your mind? What are you thinking about when you get ready to take a PK? So you could also refer this to someone on your team who's getting ready to deliver a pretty high pressure report to the team, to your staff, to the CEO, to your board. So green, again, they were having a little bit of fun, but okay, it's cold. So the ball is going to be harder than normal. I have to think about that. The goalkeeper has stepped slightly to her left, trying to show me the right of the goal. So that probably means she dives better that way. If I strike the ball an inch off center to the left with 19 foot-pounds of pressure, I can drop it into her upper 90 on her left side. 15-year-old girls, again, they were showing that I'm thinking details, details, details. The blue. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I don't want to let my team down. My dad is here, and I really want to make him proud. If I make it, that keeper's going to feel so bad. Why did my coach pick me? I hate PKs. So feel that support, that nervousness. Blues sometimes aren't as confident. Our yellows, this is me. Oh man, this is so exciting. I love PKs. All my friends are here watching me. The whole crowd is cheering me on. Everyone has their cameras out, and I'll have Instagram posts for days. Is this my good side? Focus, focus. We have a PK to take. Now, not every word of that is me, but I feel that. That is my personality. And then reds. What is a red thinking? I kicked the ball. So here's the question. Who might you think will deliver the best report to your board? Who might you think is going to be the best prepared to take this PK? In most of my sessions, people say the red. Some are now starting to say green. But the whole purpose of this very quickly is, don't you think it's that employee, that athlete that can tap into the confidence of the red, the details, right? Where is the goalie? Have I done my research for this report? The details of the green, the humbleness of the blue. I am going to do this and do it the best I possibly can for my team. And then that looseness. Yeah, let's go. I like to talk. from the yellow. So this helps us in coaching up our staff, our athletes. I now know probably what I need to help my blue with. And blue likes to have a little bit more time. So I wouldn't walk into the office. I would really be thinking about this to someone who's really high E-color blue. Hey, I need you to come in my office and give me a report. I might want to tell that person the day before. So there's so many things that you can take from this. The biggest thing that we're going to get into that we have less time to talk about is if we can predict it, you can manage it. So throughout all of this workshop, I have not told you anything about your personality. You have self-discovered it and the research supports it. And so if I know that I have a tendency to be too talkative, lose focus, all of those things, that's what we're talking about. So personality versus character. This is where we bring in character. So above the waterline is your personality, below is your character. And I always ask, what is personality? So think about it. It's the way our brains are wired. It's our instinctive behaviors, our natural communication style. My natural style is to get louder and louder, right? So I have to be pressing pause, which is something I'm going to teach you. And our default comfort zone, unexpected changes to daily norms. COVID is an unexpected change. So how that could cause some of us to default to our personality, and not 100% of the time, but when we default to our personality, it is a reaction. And many times when we react, we hurt ourselves and we can be hurting someone else, unintentionally or not. But our character, if we can go below the waterline, understand how our brain works. I now understand that I have a tendency, what my tendencies are. I've learned how to manage my personality tendencies. It's my age, gender, profession, background, beliefs, morals, our life experiences, education, family background, understanding traps that make us vulnerable. What are your traps? We'll talk about that in a second. But when we can go down below the waterline and use our character, pull on the appropriate E-color, even when there's a storm, things are crazy, pressure is on, and respond. I want you to think about this. We leave people with their dignity. Do you leave everybody with their dignity? My CEO said this about 5 years ago, and it never leaves me, because when I take away the opportunity for someone else to lead, when I don't give certain personality styles what they need to be successful, I'm taking away their dignity. So personal intervention. So this is one of our tools. Think about it, a moment of choice. Inside that brain, we have access to all 4 E-colors, but it's self-awareness. Okay, I now understand my personality, and it's a conscious decision to respond. That's personal intervention. Again, this is one of our proprietary tools. So on my wristband, it says live with intention, and there's a pause and play button on it, and personal intervention and decision-making. Again, think about it. If you go above that waterline and pull on my personality, if I'm doing any of those things that the potential limiters of our yellow, red, it's without awareness, and there are unintentional consequences. But if I have great self-awareness, increased self-awareness, and I pull on my character, which means I need to be very organized right now. So I am tapping into my 7.8% green, something I didn't do. It's with awareness, and I get intentional results. So much more to this, but you're just getting this. So I am passionate about this generation all the way up into their 30s. And so this acronym is based off of the top traps for this generation well into their early 30s. I want you to think about this. These are pause or play opportunities. These could be some of your traps, but think about it. When we are hungry, when our athletes are hungry, when our team is hungry, it's a trap that could cause them to default to their personality. Angry, when we are angry. So when you are in the middle of being angry or frustrated, that storm, those waves are coming. Can you still pull on the appropriate E-color? Think about it. Anger, loneliness, not wanting to be alone. Everybody wants that, but pure loneliness. I will tell you, this is one of the biggest issues of this generation all the way into their 30s. And sadly, they think they're alone when everybody is lonely, especially during this pandemic. So loneliness could cause many of us to default into our personality when we're tired. So maybe you've pulled on the right things all day long, the right e-colors, the right wells, and then you go home and your kids are tired, your kids are cranky and they're hungry. And who do you react to? Those people who you love the most, your children, your spouse, your partner. And then the last one is screens. I don't know about you, but I finally know what screen burn is, right? My eyes are red and watering, and our youth are much more down the road with the impact of screens. So very quickly, we teach you how to press pause, how to press play, right? Press pause on overplaying strengths before they become potential limiters. Too much passion can be a negative for some people, and I can be too passionate. Press pause to slow down, stop talking, listen and analyze whichever thing you need. Press play on managing our potential limiters so we can turn those into strengths. Think about it. How many places you've been asked, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? How about if you said, oh my gosh, I'm so aware of the strengths that I could bring to the team, but I don't use the word weakness. I want to reframe that to potential limiters. And I'm very aware of my potential limiters as well as how to manage them. Oh, you got the job. Press play to engage, speak up, take action. So not going to go through these, but again, we all have to have difficult conversations, but difficult conversations are only difficult if we make them. So we have actual pause and play opportunities. We have so many tools on pause and play that people have sitting on their desk, whatever it might be. So personal intervention, right? And mindfulness. That's a whole nother thing I can get into. But for our reds, we all have to be mindful of all of this. But our reds, it's a tendency to press play or pause for our actions. For yellow, for our words. Too many, too loud, too much. For green, our thoughts can get in the way, right? We can be overly critical. We can be judgmental. We can be very self-critical. We can overthink. And for our blues, our feelings, we are worried about how other people see us. We want to be liked so we can avoid conflict. We can be stubborn because we don't like change. So lots of things that go into this. So 4 steps to utilizing personal intervention. You get to really have a deep dive into your own tendencies, as well as get to know others. Distinguish between, wow, that was my personality, not my character, and respond by making a conscious choice. We have a whole process that we teach. So how do we deliver this? Obviously, in person, on hold for most, webinars, online workshops, online programming, each and every session. Today, I'm doing clarity of roles. Think about my daughter. I just did the shared vision and value with the government agency. Everyone came up with their own individual why that fell in line with their division's why. My daughter, I was getting ready to do a Division I team, and she lived in the area, and she came for breakfast and said, hey, Mom, what session are you doing today? And I said, oh, I'm doing clarity of roles and processes. She's a marine biologist, and she said, wow, I am in my 3rd job since graduating college, and I've never had clarity of role. As a matter of fact, I've never known what they were evaluating me on. Think about that in your business, your board, your non-for-profit, or if you're a sport coach. Think about those athletes, how often they don't know their role. And that's the driving element, the 3rd. You can't build trust if you can't have clarity of roles. So tools, wristbands, pocket guides, ebooks, study guides. We have so many tools that we embed into your culture to help you to have a deeper understanding and put in play some actionable intelligence. So these are some of our social medias. This is my contact information. You can go to Equilibria and sports, and my bio's there and more information, but I do Equilibria. We do, can you imagine your board? It starts with the top. So this is, I've done boards. We're out there, and it's this program, I'll tell you, it is the simplicity and the tools that we embed that will blow you away with Equilibria. So, wow, I got done, 10 minutes to go. And I just want to open this up for questions and answers. Any questions? And again, I am sorry that I rushed through that, but I really wanted to give you kind of a taste of what we do. We also have a premium PDI. I want to tell you about that. So your PDI, you can go to our website and you can get your top 2 colors for free. For $5, you get all 4 of your percentages with a little more information. And for $40 or $50, I think it's $50 is our premium PDI. Although if you worked through me, we get people all the time. What can I do individually? You can download your premium PDI, and then we could work one-on-one. I'm working with coaches. I'm working with parents. I'm working with families. I'm working with CEOs one-on-one. We take you through a debrief, and that premium PDI is 35 pages, and it takes into account all 8 of our workshops. It's absolutely unbelievable. So we debrief that with you, getting you to have a greater understanding of your intentional leadership, those on your team who have different personality styles, and then you develop an action plan. And I'm telling you, it's transformational. It's really, I wish I had access to these things at every point in my life from middle school. And we start this at age 7 and we go on forever. So any questions? I don't see anything in the chat box. Does anybody have any thoughts, any questions? I'm telling you, this needs to be everywhere. And even if you just did self and team awareness, that's what happened with this government agency. I went in and did their 20 leaders a year ago. And then they said, oh my gosh, we've got to bring this to our staff. So we brought the self and team awareness virtually for 60-minute sessions. And then they said, we want more. Who does that, right? So now we're doing one every 2 weeks and taking them through all 8 essentials of high performance teams and intentional leadership. Any questions? Unmute yourself. Let me see you. I don't know if you can. I hope you can unmute yourselves. Any questions? No questions in the chat box? Well, I'll put my contact information back up here for you. Well, there it goes. If I can be of help to anyone, that's not the one you want to see. Again, I apologize. You got no interaction, which is the fun part of this, and the self-realization and the fun laughter. Doesn't matter who you are, what age you are. The laughter and the aha moments are pretty incredible. So, all right. Well, I want to thank all of you for joining me, and enjoy the rest of the conference. I have a D&I. I actually am going to show you what our diversity and inclusion webinar series looks like this afternoon at 5 o'clock Eastern time. And again, there's so many great sessions, but when I went through our D&I session years ago, I was blown away what I didn't know. I was blown away at what I didn't know. And we have a free D&I session coming up. I'm partnering with Garrett Jones. He's a Black former NFL football player. And actually he's in line to be, hopefully, one of our first African-American general managers in pro football. And do we need him? And in November coming up, we are having, it's 3. So it's a D&I session on Monday night. On Thursday is a free self and team awareness workshop. And then the following Monday is the final of the D&I, because when you have an understanding of your personality, it absolutely impacts your understanding of diversity and inclusion. So we have included that in this. If anyone's interested, shoot me an email. I will shoot you the link. It's Monday, Tuesday, Monday. I think it's like the 12th, the 16th. It's in there. It's not the first week of November, but the second week. Reach out. It's free. We're doing this. This will be, I don't even know how many we've been doing. And people from all over the world have been joining us. And we're just creating pathways for people to share their stories and learn and grow. It's really incredible. So you'll get diversity and inclusion and self and team awareness for free if you're interested. So shoot me an email. I'll shoot you the link and all the information about that. So it is a few minutes before we're done. I'm going to let you go. I hope to hear from some of you and enjoy the rest of this incredible, incredible global conference. And thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.